Happy Thanksgiving, everyone! So while you were eating your mashed potatoes, turkey, and pie, I've been sitting here on Thanksgiving Day on the interwebs researching a topic known as breastfeeding. Because I remember when I was only about 3 months out of my mother's womb, I remember the first time she lifted up her shirt and her breasts came out, and there I saw only 3 months old little Daniel Sulzbach looking up and seeing a nipple. I looked at that nipple and I stared at it with anticipation as my face got closer and closer and closer until my mouth went on top of the succulent nipple, and right then and there I knew that I loved women. I knew that I had a bond with my mother. I knew that I could get free milk. In all seriousness though, putting my sarcasm aside, I am talking about breastfeeding, and the reason I'm talking about breastfeeding in this video is because there's something that was brought up today. My friend Galen sent me a post by a so-called feminist who is claiming that breastfeeding your child is wrong, that breastfeeding is anti-feminist. And at first, I thought that this was just, a troll post, it didn't have any substance to it. However, I did my normal thing and I actually researched the topic. So down below in the link, I have a link of an article posted by someone who has a PhD responding to a feminist who is arguing in her post that breastfeeding is wrong and how you shouldn't breastfeed your children. And he responds to her entire post very well articulated, and he basically destroys her argument, quoting science and other such means to combat her argument against breastfeeding. But the article's besides the point. That's just completely off the side. I would like you to read it so you can understand that this is actually something people believe. I had no idea about this, but there's actually feminists, or I shouldn't call them feminists, but whatever. There's actually women who believe that breastfeeding your child is anti-feminist. And as you're going to see here, here's a post by the woman Haley on the breastfeeding page on Facebook, in which got over 6,000 comments, and her post kind of went viral on the Facebook fan page. Here it is. Mothers who breastfeed boy babies need to stop. We need to empower more females in this world, and by breastfeeding them, we are giving a good start in life which they deserve over a baby boy, which already is physically stronger than baby girls. I have feminist views, and I am not ashamed to admit that. No baby boy will ever be fed from my breasts if I am unfortunate enough to have a son. Unfortunate enough. Formula for him, and circumcision to take away sexual pleasure from him when he grows up. Now, right off the bat, I could detect the amount of disdain and hatred this woman has towards men. But here's the problem with that. Baby boys are not men. Newborn males are not men. Baby boys are just as innocent as a baby girl. And I guess what really disturbs me is her idea that breastfeeding a baby boy is somehow sexual. There's absolutely nothing sexual about breastfeeding a newborn male or baby girl. There's nothing sexual about it. And it amazes me how this woman can completely ignore the whole concept of evolution and evolutionary biology on how evolution started with a majority of breastfeeding. I mean, breastfeeding is heavily relied upon in the concept of evolution. It's completely natural for a baby girl or baby boy to breastfeed on their mother's breasts. And there's no way that it's actually sexual. And secondly, there's no way if you do not breastfeed your child that that's somehow going to toughen him up. I mean, really. And I'll be honest, the way you write your post here sounds like if you ever had a baby boy, that baby boy would in fact be neglected based upon you actually not feeding him proper nutrition. Feminism does not equal hating men. And let's not even touch the area of how backed up scientifically breastfeeding is recommended for mothers who can breastfeed. There are, in fact, mothers who cannot breastfeed, but I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about women who can breastfeed and how healthy it is for their child. And it's been proven scientifically with research and medical documentation that a child, boy or girl, breastfeeding on their mother actually builds a bond with that child. I mean, please do me a favor and never ever procreate. I mean, how dare you actually argue that a child does not deserve any a young boy does not deserve any nutritional start to life. Because that's what you're arguing here. That a young baby boy does not deserve to have nutrition when he starts to grow up. I mean, in all honesty, you should feel ashamed and embarrassed for even thinking the way you do. But please, feel free to check yourself for a hysterectomy, and please donate your ovaries to someone worthy, you uneducated fool. Because that's what you are. I mean, do you even know how many women can't actually bear children, and then you come along, women like you who are, quite frankly, assholes, and who abuse your children, because that's what you are actually saying here. I believe that if you deliberately neglect giving your child nutrition and a life to grow up healthy, that's abuse. And let's be realistic here, the idea that breastfeeding is somehow anti-feminist is absolutely absurd. I had never even heard of this until today. Now, I have nothing against women using formula to feed their children. I have nothing against that because, as I said earlier, some women cannot breastfeed. But personally, if I was a woman, and if I was a woman, I'd be playing with these all day long. But if I was a woman, the thought of washing bottles all the time, preparing bottles all the time, making sure that I have one more extra item in my diaper bag, that makes me tired just thinking about it mentally. Babies need to be fed regardless of the method. I personally always thought that feminism was about a woman's right to choose what she wants to do. Choosing what is best for her, rather than have someone tell her what she should and should be expected to do all of the time with a set of rules. It is self-proclaimed feminists like this one who actually give logical feminists, because they are out there, a bad name. She completely misses the point that feminism was a movement to create equilibrium between genders. And I would argue that any female devaluing or degrading males, especially an innocent baby male boy, that is a step backwards towards humanity. That goes against everything in this world that this world needs right now. I honestly find this idea that breastfeeding is wrong and immoral and is anti-feminist to be upsetting, disturbing, but ultimately I think the biggest problem with her post here is near the end, where she mentions circumcision in hopes of ruining her child's sexual pleasure when he grows up. That is nothing short of a sadist. I'd like to end this video on a question because I'm fairly ignorant on the whole topic of feminism. I'm not an expert, I don't claim to be an expert, and I don't know as much about feminism as I may appear to be or portray in my videos, I'll admit that. But I would like to ask you, what is the relationship between breastfeeding and feminism? Like, honestly, because after looking this up, this is an actual belief that certain people believe, women believe, that they should neglect their child in this way, and I don't understand the relationship between breastfeeding and feminism, and I don't even see the correlation between it. But nonetheless, it exists, and I would like to ask for your understanding, and maybe you can help me understand more of this issue. So thank you for watching. My name is Mr. Repsion, and please have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'm most grateful for my mother breastfeeding me.